Hi everyone, today we have a 30-minute happy hips workout. So if you tend to have tight or weak hips or a little bit of both, or if you tend to get sore really quickly through that area, this is a great workout to do just to help improve your mobility, find strength and balance through your hips. So we're gonna get started on our mat with our legs a little bit wider than our hips. Turn out slightly from your hips. You have a little bit of that external rotation. Lower down into a squat, taking your hands into prayer, and then come all the way back, palms face back. So just naturally gliding down into your squat and then lifting on up, making sure that you're hinging again from your hips. So what I mean by that is that you're bending from your hips, you're pushing your bottom back, you're bending from your knees, and then as you lift to come on up, you're engaging your glutes and you're engaging your thighs. So you have this zigzag relationship, bending from your hips, bending from your knees, and then lifting all the way back up. Again, lower and lift. You have 5, press, 4, 3, 2. On this last one, lift up nice and tall, walk your feet in a little bit closer. So now your legs are directly underneath your hips. Take your leg, you're gonna circle it up and around. So now just going into alternating hip circles, opening up through your hips here, taking your leg to the diagonal, center, around, and back down. So that way you're improving the mobility in your hips as you circle your leg up and around. You have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now we're gonna take it the opposite direction. So instead of crossing first, you're gonna take your leg out to the side. So you're going out and around, in and down. So it's gonna feel a little different, and that's okay. Think about just the movement itself. And as you come around to that cross point, you're gonna take your leg back to neutral and then lower. So taking it out, around, cross, and back down. So now you're working through your hips through both directions of initiating that movement. 4 more here. This is 4, 3, 2, last one. Now keeping your legs underneath your hips again, reach your arms up nice and high and release back down. Bend your knees, bend from your hips, reach down towards your knees or a little bit lower on the sides of your shins. Again, lift on up. Now you can add a heel raise. Nice big inhale. And then exhale to lower again, going into that squat position. Again, 3 more here. This is 3. And 2. Last one. And come all the way back up to your stand. So walking towards the back edge of your mat, legs underneath those hips again. Nice big inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale to release, tuck your chin, peel it on down. Think 1 vertebrae at a time. Or another option is to walk your hands down your thighs in that neutral spinal position. So it's up to you. As you reach down towards the mat, you want to find that lift from your hips. So you get that nice stretch through the back of your legs here. So if you need to bend your knees, that's perfectly fine. Keep lifting your hips on up towards the ceiling. A couple more breaths here. 1 more. And then you can walk your hands out to that downward dog position. So hands on the mat, pressing your heels down towards the mat. Keep lifting your hips up nice and high. Keeping your chest nice and open. So now you're getting that stretch through the back of your legs. Nice big inhale through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. One more here. And gently lower down onto your knees so you're on all fours. Shoulders right over your wrists, hips over your knees, going into cat-cow, rounding through your spine, and then lengthening nice and long so you get that nice extension in. So just moving through both directions, finding that length, finding that mobility through your spine here. It's a nice little warm-up just to feel, okay, how does my back feel today when it comes to mobility? Is it tight in one area? Do I have some aches in another area? Be kind with your body as you move through cat and cow. A couple more here. One more each direction. And then come back to neutral. So pressing away from the mat, extend one of your legs out to the side. So now you're on all fours with your leg extended. If you have a sensitive knee, you can always place a towel underneath your knee, roll up the mat for extra support. You can also do this in standing if you're holding onto a countertop ledge. That way you have a little bit more stability through your upper body. Or you can hold on to the back of a chair, that's fine too. So now just sending your hips back, you're gonna lower down onto your forearms. You get a nice stretch through your inner thigh here. And then press and lengthen and lift all the way up. So with this movement, you're getting a little upper body, but you're also getting that nice stretch through your inner thigh. And you're changing the position of your hips. So as you send them back, you're lengthening out through your tailbone. Your pelvis is going to tilt, so it's going to tilt a little bit more forward with this movement, meaning the front of your hip bones will tilt down towards the mat just a little bit more. And then your tailbone will rise up towards the ceiling. And lift. Let's try for 3 more here. And press. 2. Lift. Last one. Lower. And lift all the way back up. So now bring your knee in. We're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. So extending your leg out to the side, keeping your chest nice and open, making sure you're walking your hands over so your shoulders are right over your wrist here. Send your weight back. So one side may feel a little bit different from the other side. It may be a little bit easier to send your hips back based on how tight that inner thigh is. So if you have a little bit more flexibility, it should be a little bit easier. So you're shifting your weight back, finding the length in your spine, and lift to press back up. Again, lower and lift. Three more here. This is 3. Lift and press. 2. Last one, and lift all the way back up. Bringing your knees underneath your hips again, pressing away from the mat. Let's go into bird dog to find a little bit of balance here. So extending your opposite arm and leg, and then lower back down. Switch to do the other side. So you're pressing away from that mat with your supporting arm and lower back down. Using your breath to help you. And really focusing on trying to keep your hips stable here so you're not rocking from side to side. Reach and press to lengthen and lower. And again, extend to reach and lower. 4 more here, you got this. 4, 3, 2, Last one, and release back down. So now just taking a seat on the mat, sweep your legs around. We're going into a roll down and a roll up next. So taking your legs out to either the corner edges of the mat, or you can separate your legs just slightly so they're a little bit wider than your hips. Now you can either keep your legs straight or you can bend your knees here. Keeping your chest open, reach your arms forward, plug your shoulders down into your back. So try not to take them away, and rounding through your shoulders and caving in your chest is actually going to be hard on your posture. So really think about expanding through your chest, engaging your shoulders onto your back. Start by zipping up your lower abdominals. So you're rounding, you're curling that pelvis under. You're peeling down one vertebrae at a time, reaching all the way down onto the mat. Extend your arms up and overhead. Nice big inhale. Exhale to roll it on up. And you can either keep your legs extended or you can keep your knees bent and roll all the way back up. So if you tend to have a lot of clicking in your hips, where you feel that shift in your thigh bone, I would say keep your knees bent. It's going to provide a little bit more stability. Nice big inhale. Exhale, curl the pelvis under. Or if you have back pain, if you ever have any low back pain, keep the knees bent as you roll all the way down, reaching your arms overhead. Nice big inhale. Exhale, tuck your chin, roll it all the way back up again. One more, nice big inhale. Exhale to curl the pelvis under. So you're zipping up lower abdominals, feeling that connection of your rib cage coming in and together. And reach and roll it all the way back up. One more, and you're just gonna stay on the mat now. So you're gonna curl the pelvis under, roll down one vertebrae at a time, reach your arms overhead, find that length in your spine, and then release, taking your hands on the mat, keeping your chest open, bend your knees. So now you're in this bridge position that you're going into. So you're going to press your hips up and lower back down, finding the strength in your glutes, finding that nice stretch through your thighs as you lift on up to that top position. Again, exhale as you lift and lower, being really careful that you're not overarching through your back. You want to make sure that your low back is not feeling the stress of this movement. So think slight engagement of belly bend to spine, and then you lift your hips. And press. 5 more here. This is 5, 4, 3, 2 more. 2. Last one, and release all the way back down. So now taking one of your legs across, finding that figure 4 stretch here. You can either keep your foot on the mat or you can lace your hands behind your thigh to get that nice stretch through your hip. And just breathe. Nice big inhale through your nose, and then exhale out through your mouth. You can shift your legs over to the side, so that way you're taking your heel a little bit closer towards that wall and towards the floor, so you can get a deeper stretch through your hips here. And then you can come back through center. Lengthen and extend your opposite leg to get that stretch in, and try to bring your legs a little bit closer to your face. One more breath here. and release back down. So now let's switch it out. Let's do the same thing, but on the other side, crossing that leg over. So you're in that figure 4 stretch. You can take your leg on up and wrap your hands around the back of your thigh to open up from the hip versus trying to press on the knee joint itself. And just using your breath to help calm your body, help relax your muscles so you get a nice deep stretch through your hips. And then you can take your heel towards the wall and then down towards the floor so you get that deeper stretch through your hip itself. You can come back to center, extending your leg. So you're lengthening through the back of your leg to get a stretch through your hamstring too. And then release all the way down. So you can place your feet down on the mat. And now just pressing your heels into the mat, keeping your tailbone heavy. Reach your arms up and overhead, get that nice little expansion. And then you can walk your feet out. You can keep your knees slightly bent, or you can fully extend your legs and gently roll it on up. Think one vertebrae at a time. So you're working through both sides evenly as you come up to that nice seated position. Okay, turning to the side. Keeping your knees bent to start, you can either lower down onto your forearm or you can rest your head on your hand. It's up to you on what feels better on your neck and on your shoulder. Keeping that chest open, extend your leg out to the side. So start by sweeping your leg forward, flexing your foot, and then pointing your foot as you take your leg back. So you're working through your hip here, trying to keep it nice and stable. You can either keep your hand in front or you can take your hand on your hip with this movement. Finding that lift out of your side body here at the same time. So you're finding that engagement through the front of your thigh as you extend your leg forward and back. And then you get that nice engagement through your glute as you extend your leg towards that back diagonal. And press and reach. And lengthen. 4 more here. 3, 2. Last one. Now keeping your leg out to the side, lift it up and down. So you can either point through your foot or you can flex, pressing your heel away so you find that length and reach. This is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, release back down. So keeping your knees bent, take your top leg slightly forward. And now you're rotating your hip down towards the mat. So try not to force this movement. You don't want to collapse into it. So you can always take your bottom leg, take it back a little bit so your hips are a little bit more stacked. Rotating your knee down towards the mat and then open up through the hip. So you're going into internal rotation of your hip and then external rotation of your hip. So it's about the action coming from the hip itself as you bring your knee down to the mat and then open. 8 more here. You want to feel that engagement through your glute. That's where the action's happening, through your glute and your hip. 6 more. This is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. And release back down. So pressing all the way up, lengthen and extend your arm, get that nice stretch through your side. And release back down. So now sweeping your legs over to the opposite side, we're gonna do the same thing. So just finding that nice 45-degree angle here. Keeping both of your knees bent, pressing away from the mat with your forearm or resting your head on your hand. Extend your leg nice and long so you get that nice lift. Abs are engaged. Taking your leg forward and back, flexing your foot as you press your leg forward, pointing through your foot, engaging through your hip and your glute as you take your leg back here. And reach. You can either keep your hand on your hip or you can place your hand on the mat itself, finding the length and the strength through your leg here. And reach. You have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep engaging those tummy muscles. 2. Last one. Now taking your leg out to the side, lifting your leg up and down. You can keep your legs straight or you can flex through your foot here. As you lift and lower, you're finding the strength through the side of your hip. Being really careful that you're not rotating that hip back. You're keeping your hips nice and even. 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release back down, keeping your knees bent. You can always take your bottom leg, send it back a little bit so your hips are a little bit more stacked. Taking your top leg forward, you're rotating from your hips. You're getting that internal rotation. You should feel it a little bit more through the front of your hip towards your psoas. So that psoas muscle connects, basically think of it as it connects from the top of your hip towards your stomach and low back to the front of your thigh. And then open, and you're feeling that external rotation through your hip as you open up your knee and your hip and back down. So every year we want to focus on trying to keep that mobility and strength balanced in our hips. That way we can stay healthy and strong. So making sure we can move our hips well where we're not feeling any pain or pinching. And lift. You got this. So you have 5 more here. This is 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, and release back down. So now just lying on your tummy, forearms on the mat, lifting your hips, lifting your chest, and then pressing your hips down into the mat so you get that nice stretch. Get a little expansion through your chest here. If you're not feeling too much and you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can always lower down and take your hands by your shoulders and go into more of a cobra, or you can go into more of an up dog so you can let your hips press down into the mat a little bit more. It's up to you. So you got 3 different options here. Nice big inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Now sending your hips back, you're going into child's pose. So you can separate your knees, bring your heels together, send your bottom towards your heels so you get that nice stretch. You can walk your hands over to one side so you're getting that lengthening and that stretching action through the side of your waist and in your trunk. And then you can walk it on over to the opposite side. And then walk it back through center again. Nice big inhale through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. One more here. And then you can roll it on up. So going into our next hip opener, taking just one leg forward, going into more of a runner's lunge stretch. So that way you get a stretch through the front of your hip. You have a couple options here. So you can tuck your toes under, extend through your leg, and really make sure that you feel that engagement through your inner thighs, slight lift through the pelvic floor. So you're providing a little bit more stability through your hips with this movement. This is really the best position if you tend to have overstretched hips and too much flexibility. So now lower down onto your knee if you need more flexibility through your hips. Pressing your hip down towards the floor. You want to be careful that you're not rocking the hips, but you're keeping them even. You can also walk your front foot out to the side a little bit. You can open up through the hips, so go into a little bit of external rotation, taking your foot towards the diagonal. And you can lower down onto your forearms for a deeper stretch. Just holding it here. Nice big inhale through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Last one. So you can walk your hands up, walk your foot back into parallel, and hold the stretch here. One more breath. And let's switch it out. So bringing your knees together, taking your opposite foot forward, going into either your full extended runner's lunge, finding that connection through your inner thighs, slight lift through the pelvic floor. If you tend to have really flexible hips, that's a better option. If you need a little bit more flexibility and range of motion, think about pressing your hips down towards the mat as you go into a deeper runner's lunge. Finding that nice stretch here. You can also walk your foot and your leg out towards that diagonal corner. So you're opening up through your hip, and you can lower down onto your forearms to get that deeper stretch. Using your breath to help you. And then you can walk your hands on up, taking your leg back to parallel, pressing the hips forward. A couple more breaths here. Last one, nice big inhale. And exhale. Now bringing your knees together, going back into your downward dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up nice and high. Getting that nice stretch, that nice lift through your hips, getting that nice stretch through your calves here as you think about lengthening through the back of your legs. Now gently lower your knees back down onto the mat. Taking a seat, sweeping your legs around. Lie down on the mat. And you can hug your knees in towards your chest, finding that length in your spine. Place your feet down on the mat again, so chest is nice and open. Rock your knees on over to one side. You can take your arms out to cactus if that feels good, and look over your opposite shoulder to get that nice spinal rotation. One more breath here. And then you can switch to do the other side. So gently taking your knees over to the opposite side, rotating, looking over the opposite shoulder. Nice big inhale. And exhale. A couple more. And then come all the way back to center. Keeping your legs nice and neutral to start. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Flex your feet. So try to grab onto the outsides of your feet as you take them out into happy baby. So you're going into external rotation of your hips, and just think about pressing down towards the mat. So your knees are going down towards the mat. You're pressing through your heels down. You can also grab from the inside. You can also hold onto your shins if you have a hard time reaching up towards your heels. One more breath here. And then slowly bring your legs back together through center. Hugging your knees in towards your chest. You can either do rolling like a ball to sit up, or you can roll to your side to sit all the way back up. So you're using your tummy muscles to help you, rolling all the way back up. Plant your feet on the mat now, going into a forward fold, reaching your hands towards the mat, getting that nice lift through your hips. Hauling out your belly, bend your knees, roll it on up, one vertebrae at a time, so that your head is the very last thing to come back up. Reaching your arms up and overhead, and release all the way back down. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope your hips feel a little bit better, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.